everyone, welcome back to another episode of Echoes of the Almighty. I'm your host, and today's episode is going to be one for the books. We all know that Jesus performed miracles. He turned water into wine, he healed the sick, he cast out demons. But if you turn on the news or you talk to people today, you'll hear a lot of folks saying they don't believe in miracles anymore. Well, I got a message for you. If you ask me, I see miracles every day in the lives of people all around us. Saying you don't believe in miracles is like saying you don't believe in God, because the two go hand in hand. In this episode, we're going to take a deep dive into modern day miracles. And no, they aren't always flashy. Some are bold, some are quiet, and some happen right in front of us when we least expect it. Today's stories aren't just about the supernatural wonders, they're about God. How God makes your enemies your footstool. How he places people in impossible situations for reasons only he knows. And how, even if in the darkest corners of the world, his light still shines. So let's get into it. Let's start with a man named Audie Murphy. If you never heard his name, let me tell you, this man was a warrior with God, given courage. On January 26, 1945, near Howitzer, France, Murphy single-handedly held off an entire company of German soldiers for 1 hour. One man against dozens. He climbed into a burning, disabled M1 tank destroyer and turned its mounted .50 caliber machine gun on the enemy. Even while wounded, he refused to give up. And when the smoke cleared, not only did Murphy survive, but he led his men in a counterattack and drove the enemy out. Now, some might say it's just grit, just military skill, but those who know understand that's a God-given miracle. A man of deep respect for God, carrying a small Gideon New Testament Bible in his pocket. Audie wasn't boastful about doctrine, but he lived by Christian values: courage, sacrifice, loyalty, humility, compassion. Even after the war, when his heart was heavy with horrors he had witnessed, Murphy fought for his fellow veterans. He never stopped. A miracle? I believe so. And the heroes of this next segment is Titanic, one of history's most haunting tragedies. The sinking of the Titanic in 1912. We all know the story of the iceberg, but few talk about the miracles that happened as that ship went down. Father Thomas Biles, a Catholic priest, twice offered a seat on his lifeboat. Twice refused. He stayed to hear confessions, give absolution and prayer with passengers as the water rose around him. John Harper, a Scottish Baptist minister, gave away his life jacket and preached the gospel to freezing people clinging to wreck in the icy waters before succumbing to the cold himself. And then there's Wallace Hartley and the Titanic band. They kept playing music on the deck to calm passengers as the ship slipped into the Atlantic. Their last song, most say it was Nearer My God to Thee. The wireless operators Jack Phillips and Harold Bride stayed at their post, sending distress signals till the very last minute. Jack perished. Harold survived with frostbitten feet. The men in Boiler Room 6 refused to leave their post, knowing that death was certain, keeping power going to the ship's lights so more lives could be saved. They could be saved. Think about that for a second. The men in Boiler Room 6 wasn't just oh, let's keep shoveling coal. No. This water was rushing in, creating a pocket of steam in that boiler room. And if you know anything about steam, steam rises and it's hot. It's hot. These guys were sweaty. They're probably ready to pass out. They're probably ready to die. They could have easily abandoned and left, but they did not. These men could have run, but they chose courage. They chose sacrifice. They chose faith. And in those final moments of God's light shined through them. That's something that you cannot do by yourself. That takes spirit. That takes more than grit. That takes God having your back to be able to do that, to give those people hope that there's even a glimpse of hope out there that they could be saved. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is one close to me. I love this story. It makes me tear up every time I talk about it. We're going to talk about Desmond Doss. I'm sure you all heard of Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge was one hell of a ride, let me tell you. So let's dive into Desmond Doss and see what he did, because I guarantee you, if you don't find this a miracle, you're inhuman. The soldier who refused to carry a gun, and they gave him all kinds of hell for it. They really did. They tried to court-martial him because he refused to carry a gun into combat. All you want to do is be a combat medic. And he was for Christ. He carried his Bible and everything in there. And, I mean, it was one of those things that just a wow moment. Once we go through this, it's going to be a wow moment for you too. So, let's get into it. One of my favorite stories of the modern faith and courage is Desmond Doss, a Seventh Adventist Christian and conscientious objector. Doss refused to carry a weapon during World War II, but that didn't stop him from enlisting in the Army as a combat medic. He believed in saving lives, not taking them. At the Battle of Okinawa, on a steep cliff known as Hacksaw Ridge, Doss performed one of the most miraculous acts of heroism ever recorded under constant enemy fire. On May 5th, 1945, Doss single-handedly saved 75, I'm going to repeat that again, 75 wounded soldiers without a weapon. He treated them, carried them, and lowered them down to the cliff with a rope sling. Each time he finished rescuing a soldier, he prayed, "Lord, help me get one more. Help me get one more." Even after being wounded by a grenade and shot by a sniper, he continued to treat others before accepting aid himself. For his bravery, Desmond Doss received the Medal of Honor from President Harry S. Truman, becoming the first conscientious objector in American history to receive the nation's highest military award. But Desmond never sought fame. He remained a humble man of faith, known for his kindness, his Sabbath devotion, and his enduring courage. Miracles aren't always about parting the seas or raising the dead. Sometimes they look like a soldier standing alone against an army, a priest praying with doomed passengers, a medic saving lives without a weapon, or someone making it through a battle they shouldn't have survived. Because even in the darkest places, God's light still shines. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Echoes of the Almighty. If this spoke to you, share it with someone. Miracles happen every day. Sometimes you just have to look for them. And until next time, stay strong, stay faithful, and remember, you were born for a reason.